Okay, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, I'm going to adjust my volume a little bit.
Is that that's not a flight simulator. What are you showing there on your background?
just a second, Leroy. Um, okay. Yeah, the background is actually a construction camera from when they were putting in the BART site here in Fremont.
Okay.
And so it's several years old, but it's just a background picture that I happen to have,
Just a
and
yeah, just a neat
so
picture.
yeah,
Yeah.
we just a second. Okay,
Uh, All right.
yeah, that should be better now. Okay, so what's going on? Everybody's remote today,
Yep. Yep.
so
So we're just kind of waiting for more people to hopefully show up.
have you got the whole COVID thing behind you now and so forth?
I hope so. Getting sick is just not fun anymore. It's
Uh, it never was, as best my recollection.
well, Um, I mean it's been pretty cold here, so
Yeah, I've noticed.
of course I have to take Patty to work and I go out early, start the car, get the car warmed up. So I'm out in the cold and whatever a little bit longer than I probably should be. So, that's always fun. But I come back in and get under the blanket for 20 minutes, and by that time the car's warmed up and it's time to go.
Okay.
So, but yeah, I you know, I can't say that I am 100% over whatever we had, but I am probably 98% over
Okay.
it.
So how's Patty doing?
She's actually today she's off work today. Today she actually said that she felt a little uh she had a little bit of a headache, and it's really the first time she's complained since she went back to work. So
Okay. Well, hopefully she's not getting a relapse.
yeah, we don't need any of that.
Yeah.
But it's supposed to they've been oh, now the weather's changed again. They've been saying that we're going to get snow today, and uh the little weather icon down in the system tray keeps changing. 1 minute I'll look at it and I'll say it's snowing, and 1 minute I'll look at it and I'll say that it's just cloudy. And I'm
Okay.
so I don't think they can make up their mind we're what's supposed to happen. But other than that, other than it being really cold out, not much else is going on. I I yeah, it says it's 29 degrees right now, but with the wind chill it feels like 20. So
Yeah.
we're actually in the middle of a heat wave right now.
Yeah. Right.
But I did work on uh, a couple of robot projects that I will wait. I'll wait for more people to show up
Oh,
before I do anything. But I'll show you. I 3D printed wheels, and this is TPU. This part
yeah,
is rubber, so
yeah.
it's got decent grip. And this
So
part,
did you simultaneously print?
no, I printed the two separate.
Okay, and then slip the one on the other. Okay, okay.
So yeah, I the printer has a profile. You can set individual profiles for each um, roll that you stick in it, but everything that I have read and heard and seen about this printer is TPU, since it's so flexible, it doesn't like going into the actual multi-filament box.
Yeah.
It's just too flexible to actually get pulled through there. So you have to do that separate. So that's what I did. I printed it. It was a single feed instead of a multi-feed.
So both parts of the wheel were printed on the same machine, but different material
Right. And
and at
diff
different times.
right. And the rim is PLA, and uh the tire is TPU. And for whatever reason, the TPU, the machine can be operated without the multi-filament box. Um, and for whatever reason, from what I've read, it's because TPU is extremely flexible, and it you just single feed it into the extruder, and it works just fine. But if you try to run it through the multi-filament box, because there's a tube and it snakes around and it does other stuff in there, I guess it has problems pushing it clear through the tube.
Okay. So how long do each of the individual parts take to do?
I want to say, well, the wheel, I think the rim, I think it took about an hour and 20 minutes, and
Okay.
the rubber, the wheel part, it's like right at an hour
Okay. So 2.5 hours for the whole combination.
per so it's closer to 4 hours,
Oh,
five
because you're
hours.
doing two wheels, I assume.
Yeah,
Okay.
so it's closer to 4.5, 5 hours because there's two of them. That wasn't really the problem. The time the time that it took to print and get the parts right was not the problem. The problem was making the rubber part. The wheel part I found on Thingiverse. The rim, no problem. Found that on Thingiverse. Great. It works great. Printed with no problem. Making the tire for it,
Yeah.
that that took some trial and error. Um,
So you use somebody else's design or you used your own design?
well, the tire is mine, but it's basically just a circle.
Okay.
Um, a circle with another circle cut out of it. Um, but I tried to find a tire that was actually meant for the wheel, the
hmm
rim, and I couldn't find one. So, um, I did a half a dozen different prints. The biggest problem was all the tires I found were small, so
hmm
you had to scale them, and scaling them usually meant the inner, uh, the inner circle, the inner radius
Yeah. Yeah.
was wrong. So it looked like it should work, but it didn't. And then uh, I finally just went into Tinkercad and made my own circle, made my own thing, and then I went into the slicer software and scaled it from there and got something that was close, and then I just tweaked the scaling around until it finally fit, and that's almost perfect. It probably needs to be just a tad bit smaller, but it works, and I'm tired of praying tires. So,
Okay.
howdy, Mike.
Hi,
Oh,
Mike.
What's
there
going
was
on?
a there was a guy that was called a router workshop, and he said if it's wood and it's too loose, you breathe on it.
Yeah. Yeah. Wood will swell up and so forth and so on. I'm not sure the tire will do that.
No, no.
It's not loose, but um, where's that other? The commercial robot, of course, with rubber that was actually made for it. This doesn't come off, and
Was
you
it
just
glued
saw.
on or what
No, no, no,
is it?
no. It's just extremely tight. It's
Okay.
even hard to get it on there in the first place. It's probably, I don't know. It's just a tad small. So when you stretch it out, it snaps back and it's really on there. You can get it off, but you got to really work at it. And you just saw how easy it was for me to take
Yeah.
that off. Um, it really should be a little bit tighter, but it's not loose. It's not free spinning or anything. So it will work. It's just it probably should be just a tad bit tighter, you know. And I'm afraid, the more I take it off, the looser it will get because it is just rubber. So,
So were you just replicating the commercial unit or
well, so the roller uh the roller 485 that came from M5 Stack has Lego holes.
okay.
Um Lego compatible PC parts.
Okay.
And um I actually thought about using or trying to use these wheels on it, but these wheels are not Lego wheels. So
Okay.
no matter what I would do, I would have to print an adapter to the Lego Techniques connector. If I
Well,
wanted to use these wheels, and these wheels are also a whole lot smaller, which isn't a big
oh,
deal.
there's also a slot in those wheels, it looks like to me.
Right, right. Because they're not Lego wheels. They're meant to go on that motor and
hmm
pretty much specifically that motor. Um, so while I was on Thingiverse looking to see if there was a convert, conversion. I just saw these, and these already have the Techniques, Lego Techniques hole. And I was like, well, what the heck? I mean, these are bigger wheels. I like that they're a tad bit bigger, especially for these motors, because these motors, they spin really fast, so bigger might be better. And I went from there. I mean, that was basically my thought process was I really just need something that would connect to the Lego side of it. Now,
Now, now those motors are actually a motor and a gearbox, I assume, right?
these are the BLDC motors that the same kind of motor they use for quadcopters.
Oh, okay.
So they're DC three phase or whatever they call that.
DC three phase. I don't think that's a thing,
It,
actually.
That
I
sounds
know
like an advertising spec to me.
it's not. I know DC doesn't have it's the
Sounds like a stepper motor.
Yeah.
kinda only fast, really, really, really fast.
Yeah.
Um, but uh, you've seen those ESC drives, ESC drives before.
Mm,
Um, maybe those are. I think they're actually doing something funky. Hub wheels. Hub wheels are kind of in the same thing. They're kind of BLDC drives. Um,
okay.
but I I showed these off once before, played around with them a little bit, and said I wanted to make a robot out of them, but couldn't quite figure out some of the stuff. And that's what I did this week was play around with it more. I actually got these to move really, really slow. Well,
Okay.
slow by comparison. So,
So you've actually tested that thing and run it.
um, the best I can, it because I don't really have a body for it yet. Wires do kind of get tangled around. So,
Oh, so
but
you need at least a third point to okay.
I need a battery. I gotta, I'm powering it up through USB right now, so I need a battery. I need a way to actually mount the battery and mount the wheels. But yes, it does appear to work. So
Okay, well, congratulations.
I know how to make it go forward and back and spin left and right and do all the fun stuff that robots should be able to do without too much problem. At least wheeled robots. Now
Okay.
what is actually very interesting, which I wasn't expecting, in this particular configuration, it is very balanced. So I could actually try to make a self-balancing robot out of it in this particular configuration. I just need to figure out how to mount batteries and mount the controller.
Okay.
Um, which I am actually considering making a inverted pendulum out of this because it might actually work really well. So I need to figure out certain things. I'm probably going to end up having to design and print some additional parts to keep to put all the stuff on. But
Is there enough room under the motors to mount it underneath?
mm, sorta,
Hmm. Looks like
sort,
it's tight.
sorta, kinda. It's actually would be better if I could just mount everything on top. But
I'm just thinking it'd make the task a lot easier if the center of gravity was naturally stable.
Yeah.
yeah, I've got some of those what do you call them? Those emergency cell phone recharge batteries.
Yeah.
Oh, and that's what I was thinking about using because some of those have decent amperage out of them. And I've used them for robots before, so they work well. But here, I'll plug it in and we can see it spinning. But I was going to wait to see if a few more people showed up before I did all that fun stuff.
Well, the important people are here already.
That's true.
Okay.
If I believe my email, Art's been here since like 3 o'clock in the morning.
Well, I always test things out. And the reason I do that is I frequently have updated Zoom as I did last night. I updated Zoom and I want to make sure everything works. So I basically try
Yeah.
I try it out, and sometimes I remember to turn it off, and sometimes I don't remember to turn it off. So, at any rate, this is a sidebar. Uh, this version of Zoom actually does a better job on backgrounds than the previous version. And that's the reason I'm able to do the background there, showing the construction site of the Warm Springs barge station. The previous version that I have, uh, which was only a couple of weeks old, wouldn't do this. So they apparently are making some changes that are visible, for lack of a better term. So I'm actually impressed with this version.
Well, as part of my wife's work with hospice, she does some veteran pinning ceremonies. And in the past, we had experimented with flags in the background. And the headphone transparency that's evident on your video now is what was occurring with her, except that the flags were waving across her pupils.
Oh,
Looked rather
okay.
demonic.
Okay. Well, this is the first version of Zoom where I've been able to successfully show a detailed background. All earlier ones have told me, well, basically your computer didn't have enough horsepower to handle it. And this is an old box that I'm working off of. This is, I think, a 2010, something like that. Um, so this is the first version of Zoom that I've been able to do do a decent job on the background. So, at any rate, some things have improved. Now, if you had a hot, up-to-date computer, you probably wouldn't notice this because it would have been working properly all along. But so they've somehow or another set it up so you don't need the horsepower that you used to need. And I don't know how they've done that, but
Do do you have do you have it checked that you have a green screen?
I do, yes.
Okay.
But I had it checked last week that I had a green screen also. And actually, I do have a green screen of sorts, so to speak.
See,
What happened?
that's me playing. See,
Oh, okay.
for whatever reason, even if I uh even if I check that I have a green screen, I cannot get virtual backgrounds to work off of this laptop.
Now, what version of Zoom do you have?
It should be I I just updated everything. It should be the latest. I won't guarantee that, but this laptop, which is a heck of a laptop, um, has had problems with virtual backgrounds ever since I started using it. It's very odd.
How many core is it?
It's an
If it's an
i7
i7, it's probably 4 core.
4 core. I'm pretty sure it's 4 core. Let me see. Oh, that is not what I wanted. I clicked on something wrong. Imagine that. Let's, where is the system info? It is 4 core with hyper threading, so it acts like an 8 core.
Okay.
It's a heck of a system. It really is, but it is also 12, 13 years old at this point. I mean, it's old by modern standards. By
Now, this one's a 2010, so it's 14 years old.
yeah. Um it This one came from Vicente. It and he used it to play
Mm-hmm.
flight simulators on it. I mean, it's um got well, the only thing that might be hampering it a bit, it's only got 8 gigs of RAM, but it's got uh a 1 terabyte SSD and a 500 gig regular spinny drive in it. It's got two drives and a Blu-ray player, and it plays Blu-rays beautiful. I mean,
Okay.
it doesn't even hesitate to play Blu-rays. So, um,
Well, the one I'm on right here is 4 core. I've got 16 gigs of RAM. Um, I don't know. I think, two T drives on it and a 1 T drive. But I don't think the drives will make much difference. The
no,
RAM will make a substantial difference.
yeah,
Um, because for something like the background, you want to be operating 100% in RAM. You don't want to be doing any on and off of drives and so forth and so on. It's just too slow.
yeah.
But I don't have any SSDs in it. I've got the 3 drives that are in it right now are um, classic spin drives.
Spinny drives.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I think these are all WDs. Um, and
Well,
those are kind of 2 gig, not 2 gig, 2T WDs are kind of my standard. Um, But
Yeah,
at any rate, this version of Zoom is um, a big improvement over the previous version.
yeah. Well, like I said, there's just something about this particular laptop that Zoom doesn't really seem to care for, but it works. I mean, it does all the basic stuff. It just doesn't like the backgrounds, and I don't really know why. The computer should have way enough horsepower to do it,
Yeah.
and even the camera is an HD camera, so I don't understand what his problem is.
Hmm.
But I can't find what version I'm running. I just updated it this morning, and I can't find what version I'm
I
running.
think mine's 6.3.6, something like that.
Yeah. The my AMD.
Where are you finding that?
Well, let's see.
There should be something that says about somewhere.
Yeah.
I just
Let's.
don't see it. My AMD machine, it was one of the machines that um it didn't even need the option checked for um green screen. It just worked. It was an awesome machine until the camera died in it. You know,
Oh, okay. I'm
figure.
still operating on version 5.17.
Yeah, that's ancient at this point. Um,
So am I. So we're a matched pair.
yeah. Well, I think you've got some company there, but so no, I updated mine last night, early this morning, whatever, to the latest and I'm running the OS is Linux Mint. So and I think you're probably on Linux Mint, are you, Leroy?
Yeah. Yeah. Um,
I don't know that the OS has a lot to do with it, but um, that's what I'm on right now. I've really converted everything, well, almost everything, to Linux Mint because I really, really like that. It's got some, it's got some relatively small features that I think make things a lot more convenient. Um, I had been on Ubuntu various versions for years, and I think what was it? You and Steve convinced me to change to Linux Mint, and I've changed and not gone back, so to speak.
yeah, Linux Mint is good. Uh, I finally found it. 6.3.6315.
That's me.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, that's what I'm on.
well, then I can't particularly say what's going on with mine, other than it just doesn't like this laptop for some reason.
Hmm.
Um, but it's been like that ever since I got the laptop. So it's whatever changes they were making to Zoom, and I have seen improvements. There have definitely been improvements, but uh, whatever they're doing, it just doesn't like this laptop. So
Can you add more RAM?
I will have to look and see. I think last time I opened this machine up, well, I know the last time I opened it up, I was installing Linux Mint on it. And I didn't think too much about the RAM at the time, but I think I looked and I think it was using, was it using DDR3 maybe? And I don't have any of that. I don't have anything extra for it. So I will have to look again.
Yeah, I'm on DDR3. Um, I've got a build in progress. It has been in progress since last spring. But
Don't want to rush these things.
well, I found out that the power supply, I was trying to use an old box with an old power supply and put a new motherboard and RAM and so forth and so on. And well, I found out that the plugs, the actual physical plugs with the old power supply was incompatible with the new motherboard. So I haven't gone back and gotten a current power supply to finish up the build, and I've been occupied with other things, so I just haven't gotten around to it. But if I get a new power supply, I can then assemble the whole thing, and hopefully it'll work.
Yeah.
But in any case, the new build I'm working on has DDR4. I was thinking about going to DDR5, but I saw a lot of unpleasantness on the internet regarding DDR5. I don't know if you've seen that or not, but uh, you are running what on your laptop there, Leroy?
Uh, eight, eight, 8 gigs of RAM on it.
But DDR3, 4, 5.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's DDR3. Um, I It's been a while since I opened it, like I said, but I'm pretty sure when I looked, it was DDR3, and I was like, oh, I don't have any of that. I guess 8 gigs is fine.
Well, I think that you can find out what the RAM is by running LSHW
Yeah,
at the command line, and then that'll show you what the not only what how much RAM you've got, but
oh,
which
the
type
type.
of yeah. LSHW is a very powerful thing. It saves me from opening the box a lot.
That would probably be equivalent to what I'm running, which is uh, CPU ID CPU-Z, and it'll go through and look at the system, the motherboard, and then each bank of memory, and then allow you to do a bench test.
Yeah, that's basically the same as the LSHW on Linux. LSHW goes through the entire portfolio of hardware,
Yeah,
so you can find out pretty much everything that you would find out by unscrewing the case and
Looking at it.
looking at it. Yeah. And as a matter of fact, you can see some things you can't see by looking at it. So,
yeah. There's LSHW there's a lot of information.
Oh yeah,
A lot.
LSHW, and it has equivalents in Windows, and it has equivalents in um, Mac OS or OS 10, and so forth and so on. Of course, OS 10, you can pretty much use any Linux command on, because, basically it's a modified version of FreeBSD. Right. Excuse me. So
I I actually wonder if it's not the graphics driver that's
that it could be. That
it's
would
an
make
o-
sense.
it's an old GeForce 5555 driver.
Well,
And I know Linux has had mixed history with NVIDIA stuff. So some of it works really, really well, and some of it not so good. Um, I don't. There's so much. I'm not seeing it just by quick glance.
well,
I need to grep it.
well, what you can do is, what I do is pipe it through a more and then step through it and so forth and so on. But the RAM is fairly close to the beginning, right after the CPU and so forth and so on. But in any case, um,
Yeah,
I find that to be.
I thought it was like right near the top, and I just don't see it. Maybe I just
Pipe it through a grep and let's see,
is it. It's not
more.
memory. Is it just RAM?
Let me go here and go here. Let me take a look. Okay.
I know I've seen it before. I just don't. I'm just not seeing it now. Of course, when I need to see it, I can't find it. That's isn't that always the way?
Let's see. I think I've got it here. I'm just stepping through mine. Keyword would be bank. So
Bank.
you have bank 0, 1, 2, 3. There's one for each physical bank. And I've got 4 gigs in each of 4 banks. And let's see, the vendor is Corsair. Width is 64 bits. Hmm. Let's
That's awesome. I have 4 banks with nothing in it.
really
That's what it says.
four
That's
banks
awesome.
and
With nothing in it. Uh, that is completely awesome. I, I,
you don't
I
have.
love I love Linux.
Okay, let's see here.
That is,
Um,
that is not the plus. You see it?
hmm.
There we go. That's a little better. Totally awesome. I also remember when I first got this laptop. This is running an older version of Mint. Um, it's running the previous version, the 21.3.
Oh, really? Okay.
Um,
Well, you
at the
might want
time, at the time, 22 had problems. 22, it did not run well on this laptop. It was very slow and very sluggish and very not happy. So I went back to a version that worked. Um, so I need to get my uh USB stick and try it again because they just released 22.1 and
to. Yeah, I know.
22.1 should have fixed a bunch of problems. So I may need to upgrade to 22.1 on this laptop. But
Yeah, I'm running 22, but not 22.1. Um, I have not upgraded to 22.1, and I may go ahead and do that now that I think about it. They
I
didn't release that. They didn't release that very long ago, I don't think.
I got notified about it about a week ago, maybe.
Yeah. And,
Um, I honestly, I there's some background stuff going on that's different. I honestly don't notice a whole lot other differences. So, they've made some improvements, but it seems like it's background stuff. It seems like it's just a small incremental update. It did not take long to upgrade my system. Um, but I've got another old system that I got from Steve. That it absolutely refuses to run 22. 22 just will not run on this system.
really?
Oh,
Huh.
yeah. So
Well, strange.
it is. And uh, this this system right here, oop, that I just hit the screen for,
Yeah.
um, it it absolutely refuses to run 22. I get weird slowdowns, uh weird stuff just happens. The audio doesn't work. It just bad juju.
What's the base machine? Base hardware?
That thing is i5, I think. It's a dual core. It is not a great machine, but it runs the that waterfall there that you can see.
Yeah.
That's part of the scanner that I'm running. So there's an SDR plugged into it. And you might be able to see uh, stuff happening over here in the waterfalls. Um, I don't know if you could actually you probably
I
can't
can't
read
see
any
the
of that.
lower panel. The upper panel I can see, but the lower panel is just a white screen.
Yeah,
The
it's
the
washed
lower
out.
the lower panel shows all the talk groups that are currently doing something.
Hmm.
Uh, there's a middle panel which shows the active talk groups. The lower panel shows like a small history of the talk groups. And every one of these red lines that's coming down the waterfall,
Yeah.
uh, most of those are people talking and
Okay.
or a and or a data transmission.
Okay.
Um, so this particular unit uses two SDRs. One is set up to read the control channel, and one is set up to read the voice channels.
Okay.
And so if the control channel sees something that I've got marked as a priority, it will switch the other SDR to that frequency so I could hear what's going on. Um,
Okay. I got it. I'm gonna have
and
to
and there's
excuse
a
myself
ton of
for
oh, okay.
a break. My glucose has gone high. I need to go take some insulin, and I'll
Yeah.
be back.
Go take care of yourself.
I'll be right back.
So
Well, I checked on the version of Zoom, and for my operating system, that is the most recent supported by it.
yeah, you Windows people.
Yeah, this is a Windows 7 person.
You even your Windows is out of date by now.
Uh, well, I've got two 7 machines, uh, two 10 machines, and an 11 machine.
Yeah. Well, Linux Mint, um, I mean they still support a couple of generations behind. Um, but Windows not so much. Once they decide they're done, they're kind of done.
Yeah. Uh, well, and this is just my personal bias. Um, it seems to me that the decisions to change Windows versions are not technical, they're economic. Uh,
There's no real good reason to change if it still works, right?
well, and I'm still happy with some of the Windows features, particularly for photographs that have facial recognition and allow me to save people information in the metadata on the photographs.
Yeah.
I hate to give that up.
So this machine over here that's running the SDR, it's running 21.3 just like the laptop is. It will be supported until 2027. The machines that are running 22 will all be supported until at least 2029. So it it's another good reason not to use Windows, if
Well,
you ask me.
there's a
But I
wheelbarrow full of reasons not to use Windows, but I'm not energetic enough to get in there with a shovel and
I
sift them
I
out.
I know there are, well, I've been using Linux for a long time now. I have found very, very few things that I actually need, but I understand what you're saying. There's certain features that you really like that really work for your workflow, and that's what you need and that's what you want. And why do they keep messing with me and taking these things away from me?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But I was actually kind of I've got a Chromebook around here somewhere that um it was supposed to be supported in the end of support for it was supposed to be sometime this year. And I went and looked, and Google has uh, updated the support for it to 2028, and I'm like,
wow.
wow. Um, so I was actually kind of surprised about that, but I think like like you were saying, a lot of people have pushed back on Google saying, why do we need to update these machines? There's nothing wrong with these machines. Why can't you support them longer? Um, because once they end support, they're still usable. You don't get any of the security features, any updates, and they'll eventually will just end up in a landfill because they've locked the OS to most of them,
Yeah.
so you can't even put Windows on them. A few hackers have figured out how to put Linux on some of them, but it the number of Chromebooks that you can actually do that with is pretty small. So,
Well, the population of the United States does not have a huge reservoir of technology for doing that sort of stuff. Oh, my book is out of date, time to go buy another one. How old
yeah,
was the other one? Oh, 4 weeks.
yeah.
So,
Oh, they don't support it. It's kind of the same with phones, right?
yeah,
They stop supporting them, and you might have another 2 years worth of use out of them after the support stops before you really have to get another phone because
yeah.
you know you
Their
you
junk is,
want you want the security updates, especially on your phone.
well, depends on what you do on it. If you do banking and financials, absolutely.
Yeah. Well,
Well,
that's Art's
the
back.
the CPU scanner that I talked about earlier, I have an old uh, laptop. It's ancient. And if I run the bench test against it, it comes up with a score of 49. If I run it against my uh, Ryzen processor in the basement, it runs 456 times faster than the laptop. So if you want to do anything that has horsepower, you put it on, mail it to yourself, and go down and use the basement machine. Uh,
Yep.
it simply isn't worth the effort to do it any other way.
Well, I haven't run. I used to run benchmarks on machines a lot, but I haven't run one in a while. I can just tell you from experience, my Ryzen machine will blow all of these machines away when it's doing video processing. It just what would take one of my other machines, 45 minutes to do, it can do in about 10. And I don't need a benchmark to tell me 10 is better than 45.
Well, the finer points are kind of lost in terms of, is it 450 times faster or 451 times faster?
It's faster to ship it. Well, even this laptop that tonight when we end the meeting and I have to convert it to a file that can actually be used, this will take about 20 minutes to do it. The other machine would be crunching. The other laptop, the old laptop, would have been crunching on it for an hour before it could do it. And unfortunately, the way Zoom works, because it's encrypted, you have to decode it on the machine that it was
Oh,
recorded on. So so 20
that's like
minutes
there
is
was
much better.
a photo processing program called Picasa,
Yeah.
Yep.
and it was not portable from machine to machine. It was virtually worthless in that respect. If you did any effort at all, and then your machine died or you upgraded, you'd lost all of that work. Very frustrating.
Yeah.
As soon as I saw that, it's like, nope, I don't care about any of the great features. I do not want to be held
Stuck to
captive.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, not only to that program, but to that particular machine.
Well, the way I found out that you had to decode the Zoom meetings on the machine that it was recorded on, I actually would take and put the recording onto a flash drive and I would take it over to my Ryzen machine because the Ryzen machine could do it in like 10 minutes. No problem. And I did that, told it to start decoding, and it's sitting there for like hours. And I'm going, something ain't right about that. So I went back to the laptop that I had recorded it on, and sure enough, I mean, it literally would sit there. There would be no progress bar or anything. It was just sitting there, just at that screen. Came back to the laptop, and the progress bar would immediately start moving. And I'm like, oh crap. It's because it's got that stupid encryption in it. It has to be decrypted on the machine that recorded it. Which, see, I feel like if you are logged in with the same account, you should be able to decrypt it on any machine.
Yeah.
You would think so.
But
You would think there'd be a way around it where you could play the recording, download the recording, and then reprocess it.
yeah. Yeah, because the
Yeah,
final
that's not going to take any longer than the original recording.
no, right. But the final end result has no encryption. I mean, it's just a raw video file. So what's the point? Why are we doing this? But uh,
Looks like Steve's coming on.
Steve's
Hello.
alive. Hello.
Yep,
Hello, Steve.
barely. Oh, just walked in. She was outside when I got in.
and somebody's happy to see you.
Yeah.
That makes one.
Probably she's happy to get in and out of the cold, I would imagine.
She doesn't really seem to notice it, honestly.
Really?
Yeah. Yep. She's just, I mean, she doesn't stay out for a long time, but 15 minutes or so. She seems amused at this point that she can walk on top of the snow.
Well, really?
Yeah. Very cool.
Sorry, I was in meetings. I hate meetings.
You're all right. It's we we were just here
Yeah.
goofing off as usual.
Well,
Talking about all
you were showing us the robot the wheel drives on the robot you're building.
I'm getting ready to actually turn it on. So I'm waiting a few more minutes for to see if Vicente shows up. Vicente, you know, he's been showing up late, so we're talking about all the benefits of Linux Mint.
Yep.
Steve looks like he kind of there he is. Okay. Looked like
Yeah, well,
you froze there for a second.
you guys have convinced me to go over to Linux Mint. So
Nice. It mostly just works.
yeah. Yeah, I'm more and more impressed with it every day. So I have made the transition on a couple of boxes. We'll
Are you running the Cinnamon desktop or are you running the Mate desktop?
who me?
Yep. Yeah.
I believe Cinnamon.
That's the one. I used to run Mate just exclusively. Everything had Mate on it. But here lately, you know, after the tablet, just Cinnamon just works with this sucker. And
Yeah, I like it.
I started
I actually
switching
haven't tried
everything.
Mate. Actually, I haven't tried Mate.
Mate
I-
Mate is like the old uh GNOME shell, like GNOME 2.
oh, really?
Yeah, it
That's
looks
not much of a recommendation for it, as far as I'm concerned.
it's if you like that style, it's all right.
Well, on Ubuntu, I ran XFCE for years and years and years, and I always liked that. And Cinnamon seems to be that with some tweaks.
with Flare. Yeah.
Well, there are some differences, but there are a lot alike in terms of the multiple workspaces and so forth and so on.
Yeah. Well, I after I played around with Cinnamon on this thing, I was kind of like, now I see why people like Cinnamon. Why
Yeah.
Cinnamon is the go-to.
Excuse me.
The one they put the most effort into.
Well, you know, back when I first started playing with Linux Mint, Ubuntu had just switched from GNOME to Unity, and I hated Unity.
Oh God. Yeah. Yeah,
So
that was not a smart move.
yeah, I went with what I knew, well, more or less what I knew with Linux Mint and Mate. And I was like, oh, I like it. And I think, Cinnamon was just being developed and was having growing pains and issues and whatever, which is not really the case anymore. It's a pretty mature desktop now. But I have slowly been transitioning all of my machines to Cinnamon. So I have like one unified desktop experience across the board. All right, let's play robots.
Okay.
Ray just showed up, but I don't see Ray, so we're going to play robots. This is the roller 485 with 3D printed wheels and 3D printed tires and Lego connected, and it should spin both wheels in one direction, and it should do it slowly, and it'll stop and it'll change the colors of the LEDs, and then it'll just do it again. Ray's driving.
So Ray is driving, and he's got his office in the background.
Yep.
So what time zone are you in, Ray?
There's my office. I'm at the office, really.
Yeah, right.
The office has seatbelts now, does it?
Oh yeah. I got caught there. I'm down in Tampa, Florida. I've been down here for like 2 weeks.
Did you get caught in
doing
the
like
snow?
2 or 3 laser machines a day. So just at the school district, fixing all the lasers.
Were you in amongst the idiots that don't know how to drive in the snow?
No, that's in northern Florida by Sarasota. And yeah. No, I'm not there. We got a lot of rain here, a lot of cold rain. These people down here are complaining about the cold. They're like, oh, there's record lows. We're in the low 40s. No, everywhere I look down here, palm trees and sand.
So
I
the
remember
lists aren't falling out of the trees.
Yeah. There we go. There we go.
I remember going, yeah, sure. I remember going down to Florida when my uncle died, and it was the middle of winter here. It was cold here. It was like in the negative teens here. And these people, I'm walking around in like 60-degree weather down there in a t-shirt, and they're looking at me like, why aren't you cold? I'm like, you don't know what cold is. Go to Ohio. Go to Ohio right now.
I was telling him, the one guy who was complaining, he's like, oh, it's so cold out here. But you're okay because you got 2 t-shirts on. I was like, man, I got snow pants and jackets and sweatshirts and gloves and ice scrapers and all that stuff in my van. I'm used to this. They're crazy.
Yeah.
So,
And
I really wanted to get in here and watch what you guys are doing with robotics. So,
Yeah.
not so important where Ray's at today.
Not so. As long as Ray doesn't crash or something, it's all right. 3D
Oh no,
printer
I'm
time.
sitting still in the parking lot.
Oh, well, then you're in your office, your mobile
Yeah,
office.
yeah. No, I've been talking with guys here, the teachers, about the Pi hats and Raspberry Pi classroom kits and Arduino kits and stuff like that. Um, all these teachers, they haven't had their machine serviced, their laser machine serviced in like 2 years. So they're all happy to fix all the stupid little problems with the lasers so they can get everything back up and running and cutting kits and building kits and um, just back up to normal building stuff. So, because it's so much faster to laser cut a wheel than it is to 3D print the wheel. It depends on what you're doing. So, uh, nice to see you all here. What else you got there, Leroy?
Well, I was going to change the speed of the motors. So, if everybody remembers when I was actually playing with this thing the first time, I had not figured out how to make the motors go slow. Turns out there's a speed mode. So, speed mode is interesting. Um, Let me upload the new sketch. I'm going to have one wheel going really, really fast and one wheel going slow. In theory. As soon as it decides to actually upload. Fast, slow. What the heck is beeping?
That's me.
Oh,
It's my CGM.
So if you put both wheels in fast and set it on the floor, how long does it take to cross the room? That's humming.
yeah, it's too fast. It um I can make the wheels go in opposite direction too. Because I figured that out. I It's part of the thing with this right now is I don't have a body for it. It's just the wheels. So now the wheels are going in opposite direction and they're moving slower. And you could tell that by the red lights that they're going in opposite direction.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Um, but I've only gotten this to move on the desk by holding the wires up. I've got it all connected. It's getting its power from USB. Everything's going through USB. I don't have a body uh, for it. I need to figure out how to get a battery on it and where to mount the actual controller. Um, but I could even make it go one wheel. This wheel will go really fast in the opposite direction because I just changed it again. But this is how I can spin them I could make it go forward, back, or left and right, and I could do it quick or slow. It's really cool that there was speed mode. Speed mode. I think last time I played with this, I think it was with position mode. And position mode didn't really do what I thought it was going to do because both wheels went, or both motors were like 180 degrees out of phase with each other. It was really weird. But now this one's going fast and this one's going slow. Um, both both motors can report their PID, so they can both report back their speed. And I'm thinking that you can keep track of the PID loops and try to match their speed so that they can continue to go straight. You can really feel it when it takes off. It really wants to kind of jerk you a little bit. This will go up to like 25,000 RPMs or something. It's a crazy speed. Probably didn't see. I saw it. I felt it, but you probably didn't see much of a difference in speed. But I just increased the speed to its maximum. And I can slow it way down, except if it's slowed way down, it does not move very fast at all. Like you could barely see it moving. Slow it down even more. Oh, sure. Now you're now you're moving like you were moving really, really slow. Now you're actually moving. Make me a liar. Make me a liar, robot. That's about as slow as it can go. And I don't know if you could see it. You can see this motor here. It is kind of jerky when it moves that slow. This thing has like a very, very wide range of speeds. Ah, there. I felt it. does look like they're mostly in sync though, when it's moving that slow. That's what I was playing with this past week. Now I need to make a body, figure out where I'm going to mount the controller and battery, and then I'll have a little BLDC drive. Robot Dealy Bob. I
Is
was
there
telling,
anything that we can help you with to get your project moving?
I'm still trying to picture what I need to do to actually mount these somewhere. So they have,
I could let you borrow a 3D printer so you can print your own frame.
oh,
If
thanks.
you need one of those.
So they have the Lego Techniques holes. And that, you know, I'm just not real sure how to mount them. They do actually, if you've got the right holes, if you've got the right parts, um, they will mount up. But if you try to mount these to actual Legos, because Legos have bumps across them, they don't the bumps won't go in there, so it doesn't really fit on regular Legos. It'll fit on the Techniques part. So it'll fit on the ones that have the holes, but not the ones that have the bumps. Um, as kind of a bonus to this situation, if they're together like I had them, they kind of are balanced themselves. So I was actually considering building a balance robot, um, but I'm not real sure. I think I need to build like a frame or something up and put the battery and the controller. But so the wheels took um around an hour and 20 minutes per wheel, per hub, and about an hour for the piece of rubber. So there's roughly 5 hours worth of printing of that there. And that was on the new printer. On the old printer that also can print TPU, this thing was going to take like 6 hours to print. And I'm like, nope, just for one part. I'm like, I think it's time to make the old printer go away. It is way too slow. This new printer has spoiled me. I Fast printing has spoiled me. But yeah, I just need to I need to sit down and think about what I need to do to build up, probably. And then of course the software right now is pretty basic. It really just goes forward. But so I would need to add an ultrasonic sensor so that I could have it not run into things and whatever, make some decisions. But this is the start. got to start somewhere. I'm pretty happy with it. I'm pretty happy with the start. Oh, we lost Ray. I considered maybe taking one of these red chassis and not mounting wheels to it and trying to mount the drives to the stalk, but I'm not sure that how I would do that.
And Ray's back.
I don't know what happened.
You lost your cell service.
I don't know what happened. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not real sure what it is I'm going to end up doing. I've got another whole I've got another whole week to play. Um, that's all I know. I don't know anything. And probably, maybe, if I can get it mounted and working, I might even be able to use that large language model processor to actually voice control the stupid thing. All on one unit.
Okay. That'd be cool.
That that would be cool. I'll need to change out that, use the I2C ultrasonic sensors that I've got for distance control. So these are controlled over I2C, at least currently. They are controlled over I2C. So there's quite a bit of possibilities going on.
The age-old dilemma to proceed in software or duct tape.
Yep.
Or soft duct tape.
I just pasted a link in there that's a Techniques squares to Lego bricks adapter.
Okay. I didn't see
Oh,
that one.
okay. You put that in the chat or what?
Oh, okay.
And they stack top to bottom and come out at the right heights. So you could do two of those with the motors attached to them and have room to run wires through.
Yeah. Or yeah. Yeah. Okay. I'm downloading that sucker. That's going to go and get printed.
There are probably some open SCAD ones. And I figure for your motors, the 6x6 STL do what you want.
You know what? M5 may have I've got some M5 something or other. It's one of their older pieces, and there may have been some of those parts in there. I didn't even think about those. Um, I I printed the wheels knowing full well that they use these T spacers, the
Mhm.
T connectors, and I was like, I'm sitting there trying to put them on there, and I'm trying to use these stupid round connectors, and I'm like, man, I printed these wheels, and I can't get the round. Going, well, duh, because of course the motor will accept the round connector, but the wheel won't accept the round connector because the motor is kind of semi-universal. I felt like well, duh. Then I had to go hunt up some T connectors. I had to go to the grandkids' Lego box and rob a couple of T connectors from them. Oops, they'll never know. They might figure it out one day when they're trying to put together whatever kit they bought and they can't find the T connectors.
I got a thing I have yet to put together. It's a roller coaster kit. The thing was originally like $240. There's a game shop right down the road from me. And I've been watching this thing drop in price. And I went in 2 weeks ago, a week ago, I guess. It had dropped down to $45. I'm like, I got it. So I bought this thing. I haven't started it yet. I'm still reading the manual, trying to understand the English involved.
Who's the
It is
designing company?
crazy. I forgot. Hold on a second.
Is it Coaster Dynamics?
Okay. The Space Rail 231-9.
There's an American company that designs roller coaster models and such.
Mhm.
The name of the company is called Coaster Dynamics.
Okay.
Many years ago, they were a laser customer of mine.
Ah,
That looks complicated.
Yeah. Yeah, I might have bit off too much to chew on this one.
Wow. The grandkids, one of their I think my nephew had his birthday party at a Lego store up in Dayton, and all the grandkids, everybody got Legos for prizes. So, they little boats, and I mean, the little kids, not like the big elaborate funky kids. They came home and just dumped them all into a big box. So,
Oh,
This has
like,
still got everything in its bags, and I've looked at it. Um, I've gone through the directions for it 2 or 3 times. Still trying to interpret it.
do marbles go down it?
Yeah.
What? Okay. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, the rails are nylon tubing with little pins to join the 9 sections together. And it's got a total of 70 meters of tubing in it. So 35 meters of track about. Probably comes out about, I don't know, 30 meters when it's all done and you
Yeah.
sweep up the stuff you cut off.
Wow. Have fun with that.
At 30 meters?
Yeah.
It's 100 feet long.
Uh-huh.
you recall the equivalent there at the mall down in Cincinnati where they used billiard balls as the rolling stock? It was,
No, where was that?
what was the mall that was
Oh,
west?
Forest Fair.
Yeah, Forest Fair.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember. I thought you were saying that there was something outdoors that you could go up and roll your own billiard balls on.
That would be kind of neat.
Yeah.
Also a little dangerous, I would think.
They I always thought that thing at Forest Fair Mall was like a Rube Goldberg contraption.
Hmm.
Just okay, that's cool. Why did they build that? Because okay, it was cool. I saw, well, there's a bunch of like marble clocks on YouTube that you can build, and some of them are kits, and they take marbles and have them go into like counters,
Hmm.
and when you look at the counter, it tells you what time it is, which is kind of cool. But I don't know if I would want to build one.
I had one years ago.
Yeah.
It did pretty good time. It used a regular clock motor to actually drive the wheel that carried the balls back up to the top. Um, and the rest of it was just a 1 to 12 counter, 1 to 10 counter, and a
Yeah.
second one, 1 to 12, I guess.
My daughter bought me one of those decades ago, and it was a mechanical balance. so that the marbles retained their position until the counterweight was tripped, and then it would go cycle through that. It was kind of nice to watch, but a racket, it happened all the time. I mean, you couldn't place it someplace just to watch it work because it overwhelmed whatever else was going on.
Click, 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 click.
Clank a clankety
Clank,
clankety
clank, clank.
clankety clank.
Yep. Seems like I kind of remember my grandmother had something like that, but it was a lot smaller. And I am sure it wasn't a kid. I'm sure she bought it. But it was more like a teeter-totter kind of deal where the marbles rolled back and forth
Yeah,
and
that's
did
what
a,
mine was.
yeah. I kind of remember that. I think they're neat, but I wouldn't want to build one. Some of that marble stuff gets really elaborate.
Yeah. Well, the tolerances apparently on marbles are very, very wide also. The colors vary. If you have a white marble or a black marble, you could have differences according to color
Mm.
as well as manufacturer and um, pear-shaped marbles versus spherical. If you were going to do this on a very, very technical basis, I'm sure you'd want something as sophisticated as ball bearings.
Hmm.
But then it starts to get heavy.
This thing uses stainless steel 1/2 inch balls.
Okay. So you're going to have some weight traveling the rails.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there's that marble machine that for music,
Oh, yeah. Winter Garden.
Winter Garden. Yeah.
Yep.
I was trying to think of who that was. Yeah, that's him. Um, I guess those are really steel ball bearings instead of marbles, but close enough. Marbles. So I would imagine if you're going to make something like that, you would want the tolerance of ball bearings instead of the tolerance of of marbles. Ah,
Yep.
yes, that
Okay.
that looks very similar to like what my grandmother had.
Yep.
Wonder what ever happened to that.
It got put in the storage room in a plastic bag because it made too much racket.
Because it went clonk, clonk.
I got mine at Helen Gallagher at Northgate Mall.
I have no idea where the one grandma had came from. Or where it went. So, uh, so next week we should still be virtual. Um, and then we'll be up in person again.
At midpoint, right?
At midpoint. And then in person at Mason, where everyone who can is really encouraged to come so they can see the new place.
Okay.
What is
And
the
then we
new
got
place?
Mason,
Library at Mason.
the library at Mason. Directions are in the email. It's not hard to find, really. It's 42 off of Tylersville Road. Depending upon which direction you come, you either turn left or right. There you go. How muddy is that?
OSHA used to have regulations that said indoor piping or outdoor piping could be above or below ground.
There you go. So,
Okay.
certainly. Correct. Uh, but like I said last week, I haven't made any plans for uh March, so we may be all virtual March if we can't figure out what we like, what we're what we're going to like to do. But hopefully that won't be a problem. Hopefully Mason will work out. And
What happened at Centerpoint Library?
the room just has been getting increasingly hard to book.
Okay.
And even when I could get it, there was that 1 month that I got it, but I didn't get it for the normal times. I got it for oddball times. And a couple of times we've been down there and other people have said that the room was theirs, and I'm like, no, it's not. But it's ever since they got rid of the original booking method and clean the calendar out, and everybody started. It's been really hard to get that room. So that is a very popular room for some reason. And apparently at Mason, I mean the lady said that the room is almost always available to use. That very few people actually use that room. So it may be a good thing. It may not be a good thing. We gotta see how the Wi-Fi works and other stuff. But
The Middletown Library, I believe they recently got they've recently finished building their makerspace.
yeah.
So they've got 3D printers and regular printers and stuff.
Well, the reason why we didn't stick with midpoint, we we were trying to find midpoint. Westchester is kind of central to everybody.
Yeah.
Um, and Mason is kind of central to everybody. It's 3 miles from Westchester, from
Yeah.
that library, so it's more or less central to everybody. We were trying to find something that was more central, instead of like
North.
I know we could get the room at Trenton. I know almost nobody uses that room, but who wants to drive to Trenton? I mean, I live close and I don't want to drive to Trenton. So, um, that's probably why that
Well,
room is available.
I'm working on the journal building,
Yeah.
and so I recently purchased a lot of pallet rack, and we're reorganizing all the equipment that's upstairs, and that's freeing up a lot of space so that I can actually break out all the woodworking tools and other manufacturing tools. So I can stack all my wood and supplies, all my projects off to the side, and I've got all my tooling organized. And right now I'm not working on robot projects because I'm trying to be more focused on getting my rooms up to par. As an example, pallet rack is not cheap. Okay, it cost me a little bit over $18,000 for the pallet racking that I bought.
Yeah.
And then I've got 17,000 square feet of tile to put in, plus some other tile, flooring, and carpet flooring and stuff like that. But we're going to have space available if we want to have a permanent place to leave projects that we're working on, to go there to actually work on projects, drilling and 3D printing and all of those stuff. Because I know many times, Leroy, I've heard you say you're running out of space.
You have no idea.
I don't. So
We actually a while back, when this was becoming a known issue, we did discuss, Ray always has a spot for us if we need it. But again, we were trying to stay central to everybody instead of,
I know.
so um it maybe
And
once the
it's
journal
tough.
building, once the journal building is there and everything, we'll probably have to revisit the whole situation, because I have a feeling the building will change a lot of things. You know what I mean?
Well, we'll have high-speed internet. We'll have tooling and equipment to build what you want. We'll be able to have classes to train other people to do stuff. Do it more
Yeah.
often. You can work on a project, leave it on the table, and come back the next day.
And hopefully it's still on the table.
And it's still on the table. Yes.
Yeah.
Have your own office, whatever.
So
But we're looking at bringing in a skateboard shop. We've got a church that wants to use the building twice a week already. Other people, putting offices in there. So it's just money. I got to find some more money. So
go sell some lasers.
yeah, that's why I'm working 2 to 6 laser machines a day down here in Florida right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get it. I got it. So.
I had a consultant come in one time and he said, "Oh yeah, I make the big bucks." And he was talking about printing money that was about a foot long. That was is making big bucks.
Making the big bucks. Yep. Wow.
All the bucks that I get spent. Comes in and goes right back out.
Speaking of printing, do you still have that press in the basement of the one building?
I had the substructure that supported the main printing press, but when Comcast left, they took the printing press with them. It really had no main value, no real value. So that's going to be a project probably for this summer, to get in there and cut out the rest of the press. Yeah.
Yeah,
I was injured recently, so I've been limping my way back to healthy. And
Good luck with that.
yeah.
well, that structure looked like it was purpose built. It wouldn't
Yes.
be valuable for anything
no.
else.
No, it's good for scrap steel. That's it. So,
Yeah.
Being as it probably is steel and not cast iron, could you go over to AK Steel and say, "Hey, come get this"?
Doesn't work that way.
it's a little bit of both cast iron and steel.
Ah,
So it depends on what parts. And the cast iron has almost no value,
right.
even if it's recycled.
At one time, I was collecting scrap and I was getting a half a penny a pound. So if you loaded up a truck, you could get like $12.
Yeah. The only good thing that I see in this is I believe the cast iron is a lot easier to cut, like with a sawzall.
It's a softer material for sure.
Yeah, I almost to the point where I could smack it with a, a sledgehammer and break away pieces rather than after I've cut it so far, I could hit it with a cast iron. Or I could hit the cast iron with a sledgehammer to break off pieces. But
You really don't want to do that.
It'll spall.
Yeah.
But that's one of the advantages of using cast iron in plumbing applications is you can take a ball peen hammer and crack a T or fitting in the middle of a system and take it apart without having to start at one end. I worked at a industrial warehouse when I was in high school, and I was really surprised at how efficient the people who worked there permanently were. They could hit a fitting with a ball peen, crack it neatly in half, peel it away faster than I could have picked the hammer up.
well, if anybody wants to just come down here and cut it up and take it away, they can have it for scrap metal price. They take it free. I know you guys aren't that age anymore that you really want to do it.
I don't think I was ever that age.
Well,
I think I'm past it now that I really don't want to do that.
Patty's here.
Having worked at AK Steel and watched them produce 300 tons of steel every 45 minutes, they're probably not interested in your framework.
No, I can still sell it to Cohen Brothers.
Yeah.
But like you said, it has such low value that the time and effort materials going into cutting it out, it's just not worth it. But at the same time, I've got equipment set up right now and I made sure I still have that traveling clearance that I can drive my forklift and my Bobcat over to that area. So,
well, Ray, you have my respect for taking on a mammoth project.
The whole building is a mammoth project. It's crazy.
Exactly. Precisely. The first time you allowed us to take a tour, my wife and I, when we left, were just kind of shaking our heads saying, and I thought my garage was a mess.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Give you guys a whole new clue about what a mess is.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think Patty came over to my shop once and over to the laser shop, and she's just like, he's got so much stuff.
Yeah. I mean,
and that's business related, all necessary inventory.
Patty did. I thought Leroy had a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, no. My controlled chaos is not a whole lot of stuff. Ray
That's
has
not
stuff.
A lot of stuff. This is a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Ray has stuff. And
he has
even
stuff that you couldn't put down Ford Escort if you rolled the windows down.
That's
Well-
right, man.
And even when you try to talk Ray out of buying stuff, i.e., don't buy more than like 3D printers, Ray. Oh, I came back. I have 15 3D printers.
Well, I got 9 in the box still. We got 15 up and running on the shelves.
That's what
So-
I'm just messing with you, Ray, but you got
Good.
stuff. You got stuff. Don't go crazy with the 3D printers, Ray. How many did you come home with?
20.
20?
All of them.
But they're good and they work. And even if I didn't want them anymore, I could still sell the pieces and the scrap metal out of it. So I'm not losing anything. It'll be all good.
Well,
My
yeah,
son's happy. I'm happy.
for what you paid for those, you're not losing anything.
Nah.
So,
I'm good.
But-
I'm happy.
yep, Patty's here and it's after 7. So I think it's time to call it a day or night or whatever this is.
Okay.
I will
Good
see
night,
everybody
folks.
next week.
See you next week.
All right.
See you
Bye-bye.
guys later.